So let's go to other spindle cell neoplasm entity. This one in low power, we can know some of these really just merged together. We call this tabling. This is one of the characteristic feature of this entity. Then zoom in a little bit. We can see kind of this spindle cell neoplasm, just haphazard growth from the superficial dermis, papillary dermis, all the way growth down into even go to subcutaneous fat. And then in the periphery, you usually see this characteristic collagen trapping by this spindle cell. And then when you see the cytology of this cell, kind of polymorphic but still bland looking cell. They do not look like identical. They have different size, different shape, but not really a typical cell. They didn't form any structure, not forming storiform, fascicular, herringbone growth pattern. So combination of these tabling of the really bland spindles looking, not monotonous, not really hypercellular, collagen trapping. When you do some staining CD34, that is negative. So this one is really good for dermatofibroma. Usually occur in the distal extremity of a female. This is another example of dermatofibroma, but this one I just would like to show you. Just we can see a lot of spacious gland on top of this lesion, and then some area almost look like some follicle induction. So dermatofibroma, you can induce sebaceous gland reaction and also this follicular induction on top of dermatofibroma. So just imagine if you get a shave biopsy, something like this. You may think what it is, but when you see this sebaceous induction, follicular induction with spindle looking cell entrapping the collagen, still this superficial biopsy, you can tell this is dermatofibroma. Of course, when you see other feature like the spindle cell, they didn't form any swirling structure, and then cell not look identical. They are still polymorphic, but the cytology is really bland. And then if you would like to convert to the CD34, that is negative. So this is another good example of dermatofibroma. This one is cellular dermatofibroma, because compared to the previous lesion, even in low power, you just feel like a lot of cells here. But when you go down, you still see really classic collagen trapping in the periphery. Then we have our spindle cell proliferation. The cell look a little bit polymorphic, but usually you won't see mitotic figure, and then the cell looks a little bit different. I will talk about dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans, DFSP, later. You can see how monotonous of that cell. So even high hypercellularity, bland looking cell, you have collagen trapping. When you do CD34, this lesion would be negative. And another good finding is hemosiderin. I forgot to mention, but seems in this lesion we do not see really nice hemosiderin, because usually in dermatofibroma there will be some extravasated red blood cell, and then when the red blood cell die, they will have hemosiderin deposition. Let's see some dermatofibroma variant. This one is called hemosiderotic dermatofibroma. This lesion kind of hypercellular, but in the periphery you can always see this nice collagen trapping, spindle cell proliferation, do not forming any structure, just haphazard growth. How we call this variant, that we can see this golden color deposition, that is hemosiderin. This lesion kind of older. If a more fresh lesion, you will see a lot of extravasated red blood cell. But when you see this hemosiderin around, combined with all other feature, that is a variant of dermatofibroma called a hemosiderotic dermatofibroma. Really nice hemosiderin deposition, collagen trapping, that is classic for dermatofibroma. Let's do one more. This one is called aneurysmal dermatofibroma. Just another variant. Even you can see, oh, we have some fat trapping. Could it be DFSP? But no, because you can see this size of the fat. This adipocyte is not really happy, not happy at all by hugging by this dermatofibroma. So dermatofibroma may cause some of fat almost like necrotic fat. You can see this different shade of size of the fat. They also have this inflammation reaction. You can see lymphocytes, even other inflammatory cell around this collagen, this fat trapping. Not like DFSP, the fat is kind of maybe happy to be surrounded by the DFSP, so you won't see really this kind of big size of adipocyte, small size, and then inflammation, infiltration around the fat. So let's more focus on the main lesion. We can see a lot of red blood cell. Why we call aneurysmal? Because we can see this pseudovascular formation. This is not endothelial cell. This just venous cell, a lake-like structure. This pseudovascular forming, filled with this red blood cell, and then they also have hemosiderin deposition, and the cell just look polymorphic cell, but not atypia, spindle cell proliferation, and the collagen trapping is really classic. We can see here is hemosiderin, collagen trapping, no fascicular growth, no kind of herringbone, no snoriform growth. This is good for aneurysmal dermatofibroma. So let's go to our last entity, that is DFSP. In low power, we already know this is a excisional sample. Then we have this really nice honeycomb pattern, all the fat trapping by this DFSP cell, by this sarcoma cell. Sometimes in the DFSP, we often can see collagen trapping, but this one is not as good as the DF, but you still see maybe some collagen trapping. But when you see the cytology, the cell kind of monotonous. All the cells look the same, because for a soft tissue entity of the sarcoma, when they have translocation, the sarcoma cell usually look monotonous. For DFSP, the characteristic translocation is collagen 1A1 DFSP. Another transfusion partner is collagen 1A1 PDGFD. Excuse me, that is PDGFB. That is the more common transfusion. The other one is PDGFD. Then really nice collagen pattern. Another thing I would like to show you is the storiform growth pattern. just this cell just forming kind of swirl pattern, something like this. They're just forming kind of a swirl pattern, not like the DF dermatofibroma. They just have haphazard growth. So combine all of these features. This is a good example for DFSP. And then immunostaining marker, you can do CD34. It should be diffuse strong positive in DFSP. So you want more example of DFSP. This is also an excisional sample. You can see really nice honeycomb pattern. The fat is trapping by the DFSP cell. Then in the periphery, not really nice collagen trapping, really hypercellular, but really classic for this lesion. We can see this kind of fascicle growth, almost like herringbone. If you can see really long fascicle growth and herringbone pattern, the DFSP is suspicious for sarcoma transformation. But for this one, you can see short vesicle, and then I think it would be classic to find some swirling, growing pattern. For this one, but when you see the cytology, the cells still really bland. They're not like really high grade cell. When you see this fat trapping, you can see most of the fat cell looks like same size, and then not even any inflammation just going around this fat trapping. Seems looks like the fat cell is happy to stay to hugging by this DFSP cell. Not like the DFSP, the fat cell seems not happy. They would trigger tons of inflammation around. So this is a really good example for DFSP.